The snow fell softly over the neon streets of New Avalon City, wrapping the towering buildings in artificial cheer. Christmas lights blinked across shop windows that promised warmth, joy, and connection. For Marcus Hale, retired Terran Marine, the lights only reminded him of everything he no longer had. The blind date had been his sister's idea, arranged through a cross-species social program meant to help veterans reintegrate. Marcus wore his old service coat, cleaned and pressed, medals removed, but memories still heavy on his shoulders. He arrived early, sat straight, and waited. Minutes passed, then an hour. The server offered sympathy disguised as politeness. The chair across from him remained painfully empty. Marcus had survived the Orion front, plasma fire, boarding actions, and the screams of dying stars. Yet rejection always hurt in quieter, sharper ways. The message finally came, short and dismissive. "Sorry, changed my mind. I didn't expect a human veteran." He closed the message without replying. Outside, laughter echoed as couples hurried past hand in hand. Marcus paid the bill for two out of habit, stood up, and prepared to leave. That was when a shadow fell across the table. Not threatening, not aggressive, just present. A calm, unfamiliar voice spoke gently. "Is this seat taken, or is Christmas simply cruel tonight?" Marcus looked up, expecting pity. Instead, he saw someone who would change everything. She was alien, unmistakably so. Tall, elegant, with softly glowing markings along her blue-silver skin, eyes like starlight reflected on water. Several patrons stared, then quickly pretended not to. Marcus stiffened out of old instinct. Years of war had taught him caution around non-Terrans. Yet there was no fear in her expression, only curiosity and warmth. "I saw you waiting," she said, "and then I saw you alone. May I sit?" He hesitated, then nodded. She smiled, not with teeth, but with her eyes. "My name is Celira," she said. "I am new to this world." Marcus introduced himself, voice rough, unused to small talk. They spoke awkwardly at first, about trivial things, weather, food, the absurdity of blind dates. Then Celira asked him about the scars on his hands. Not with judgment, not with fascination, but with respect. He told her he was a veteran. He expected the usual response, discomfort, polite withdrawal. Instead, she leaned closer, listening intently. "In my culture," she said softly, "those who protect others are honored beyond words." For the first time that night, Marcus felt seen rather than evaluated. Outside, snow continued to fall, but inside, something unfamiliar warmed his chest. Celira asked about the war. Marcus warned her it was not a gentle story. She told him she was not a fragile one. He spoke of lost squads, of holding the line while civilians escaped, of orders that haunted him long after they were obeyed. He did not dramatize, he never did. Celira listened without interruption, her markings dimming with shared sorrow. When he finished, silence settled between them, not uncomfortable but heavy. "I was widowed," she said quietly. "My mate died during a planetary evacuation, protecting children not his own." Marcus met her gaze, recognizing a familiar grief. They were two survivors, shaped by sacrifice. Different species, same scars. "I have a child," Celira continued, watching him carefully. Marcus did not flinch. He had buried friends younger than most parents. "I think," she said, "that strength is not the absence of pain, but choosing to stand again." The city outside blurred into irrelevance. Christmas music played softly in the background, but neither noticed. Two wounded souls shared warmth without promises or expectations. Time slipped by unnoticed. The restaurant began to empty, lights dimming. Marcus realized he was smiling, something he had not done in a long time. Celira glanced at the empty chair across from him, then back at his face. "Your date," she said gently, "was a fool." Marcus shrugged. "Maybe." She hesitated, markings shimmering nervously. "In my people's tradition," she said, "companionship is chosen not by perfection, but by courage." She reached across the table, not touching him, but close enough that he felt the warmth of her presence. "Human Marcus Hale," she said, voice steady despite her visible nerves. "Would you consider being my partner?" The question hung in the air, fragile yet powerful. Marcus thought of lonely nights, empty apartments, the weight of surviving when others had not. Then he thought of the way she had listened, truly listened. "Yes," he said, voice firm. "I would." Celira's smile brightened like dawn over an alien horizon. Outside, snow fell heavier, as if the universe itself approved. They walked together beneath the glowing lights of the city. Two figures, once shaped by loss, now moving forward side by side. Passers-by stared, whispered, then moved on. Marcus did not care. For the first time in years, he felt hope instead of duty guiding his steps. Celira spoke of her child, of rebuilding a life, of learning human traditions. Marcus spoke of teaching someone how to skate, how to laugh again, how to trust the future. Christmas morning came quietly, without fanfare. But it was the warmest he had known. He had been rejected, dismissed, forgotten. Yet fate had placed someone extraordinary in his path instead. Not because he was flawless, but because he was strong enough to keep standing. And on that Christmas, a human veteran learned that sometimes the best gifts come wrapped in the unexpected. Christmas night did not end with fireworks or declarations. It ended quietly, the way all meaningful things often do. Marcus stood at the edge of the pedestrian bridge, overlooking the frozen canal, city lights shimmering like fractured stars beneath the ice. Celira stood beside him, close enough that he could feel the subtle warmth radiating from her skin. For a long moment, neither spoke. They did not need to. Silence between survivors was not empty, it was honest. "I did not expect tonight," Celira said at last, her voice low and thoughtful. "In truth, I came to the city to disappear for a while." Marcus turned slightly, curiosity replacing habitually guarded restraint. "Disappear," he echoed. She nodded, markings along her neck dimming. "My people believe widows should remain near their kin," she said. "I chose exile instead." Marcus understood without needing more explanation. Sometimes distance was the only way to breathe again. Sometimes staying hurt more than leaving ever could. "I stayed," Marcus replied. "Long after I should have gone." Celira studied him, not intrusively, but with the careful attention of someone who understood what it meant to carry invisible weight. "Why?" she asked gently. "Because soldiers are trained to endure," Marcus said. "And no one teaches us when endurance becomes stagnation." The wind picked up, carrying the distant sound of laughter from a nearby plaza. Families gathered around holographic trees, children chasing projected snowflakes that melted before touching the ground. Celira watched them quietly. "My child," she said, "has not laughed like that since his father died." Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. Not fear, not doubt, but responsibility. The kind that could not be shrugged off or ignored. "How old?" he asked. 6 solar cycles," she replied. "He is cautious, observant. He does not trust easily." Marcus exhaled slowly. "He sounds like someone I might understand." Celira's gaze snapped to his, surprise flickering across her features. "You are not afraid," she said, not as a question. "I've faced orbital bombardments," Marcus replied. "I think I can handle meeting a kid who's been through hell." That was when Celira laughed, softly at first, then openly, the sound musical and raw at the same time. It was the first true laugh she had made that night. Marcus realized he would remember it for the rest of his life. They did not rush into anything. There were no promises spoken under the glow of Christmas lights. No grand gestures designed to impress imaginary audiences. Instead, there was coffee the next morning. Then a walk through a quiet park 2 days later. Then a shared meal where conversation flowed without effort. Marcus learned that Celera had been a xenolinguist before the war, that she spoke 12 trade languages and had once believed diplomacy could prevent bloodshed. She learned that Marcus had turned down promotions to stay with his unit, that he still woke up before dawn out of habit. Trust did not arrive all at once. It came in fragments, in moments when neither felt the need to explain themselves. The hardest step came a week later, when Celera invited Marcus to her residence, when she told him her child would be there. "You do not have to come," she said, clearly bracing for rejection. "I would understand." Marcus remembered the empty chair across from him on Christmas Eve, remembered the message that dismissed him without knowing him. "I will come," he said, "and I will earn his trust." Celera's eyes shimmered, not with tears, but with something stronger. Hope restrained by caution. Her home was modest by alien standards. Soft lighting, curved architecture, colors chosen for calm rather than display. There were children's drawings on the walls, clumsy and earnest. Marcus paused at the entrance, instinctively removing his boots. Celera noticed, her markings brightening slightly. "He is in his room," she said. "His name is Chiron." Marcus nodded, heart pounding harder than it ever had before a mission. Combat had rules. This did not. The door opened slowly. A small alien child peered out, eyes wide, posture defensive but curious. He clutched a small mechanical toy in his hands, knuckles pale with tension. "This is Marcus," Celera said gently. "He is my friend." Chiron stared at Marcus. Marcus knelt slowly, deliberately lowering himself to the child's height. He did not speak at first. After a long moment, Marcus reached into his coat pocket and removed a small metallic insignia. An old unit emblem, worn smooth by years of being carried. He placed it on the floor between them. "This," Marcus said quietly, "belonged to people who protected others." Chiron's eyes flicked from the emblem to Marcus's face. "You fight," the child said, voice soft but sharp. "I did," Marcus replied. "So others didn't have to." Silence stretched, fragile and uncertain. Then Chiron slowly stepped forward and picked up the emblem. He turned it over in his hands, studying every mark. "My father did that," the child said. Marcus swallowed. "So did mine." Celera watched from the doorway, hands trembling. She did not interfere. She knew this moment could not be forced. Chiron looked up, eyes no longer guarded but searching. "You stay," he said. It was not a request. It was a test. Marcus nodded. "I stay." The weeks that followed rewrote Marcus's understanding of strength. It was not found in holding a line, but in holding patience. Chiron did not trust easily. Some days he ignored Marcus completely. Other days he asked difficult questions that cut deeper than any blade. Why people leave? Why fathers die? Why promises break? Marcus answered honestly, never dismissing the pain behind the questions. He taught Chiron how to repair simple machines, how to skate clumsily on human ice rinks, how to channel anger into motion rather than destruction. Celera watched them with cautious wonder. She saw the way Marcus never raised his voice, never pretended to have answers he didn't, never treated her child as fragile. One evening, as Kieran slept curled against a pile of blankets, Salira and Marcus sat together in the dim light. "You are changing him," she said softly. Marcus shook his head. "He's changing me." She reached for his hand, fingers brushing tentatively. He did not pull away. "My people believe bonds are forged through shared survival," she said. "Perhaps that is universal." Marcus squeezed her hand gently. "Maybe survival is easier when you don't do it alone." The galaxy beyond New Avalon did not pause for their quiet rebuilding. News reports spoke of rising tensions, border skirmishes, political fractures. Marcus watched them with the detached awareness of someone who had once lived inside those headlines. One night, Salira found him staring at a recruitment broadcast. Her markings darkened immediately. "They want you back," she said. "They always do," Marcus replied. "Veterans are convenient when things go wrong." Silence settled heavily. Kieran slept in the next room, unaware of the weight pressing against the adults' hearts. "If you go," Salira said carefully, "I will not stop you." Marcus turned to her, eyes hard but honest. "I don't want to go." That admission shocked him more than anything else. For the first time since the war ended, duty did not feel inevitable. "I've spent my life protecting people," he continued. "But I never learned how to choose myself." Salira stepped closer, resting her forehead against his chest. "Choosing us," she said, "is not weakness." Marcus closed his eyes, breathing in the unfamiliar peace of that moment. The war would always be part of him, but it did not have to define his future. On the anniversary of Christmas, 1 year later, snow fell again over New Avalon City. Not artificial this time, but real, cold, and imperfect. Marcus stood in the same plaza where he had once been alone. Salira stood beside him, Kieran between them, holding both their hands. The city lights reflected off their joined shadows, merging them into one. "You stayed," Kieran said quietly. Marcus smiled, a real one. "I told you I would." Salira leaned against him, markings glowing softly. "In your world," she asked, "what is this called?" Marcus looked at the two beings who had given him something no medal ever could. "A family," he said. And beneath the falling snow, a human veteran who had once been rejected, stood not as a soldier, but as a chosen partner, a protector of tomorrow, and proof that even after war, life could still begin again.